Belzec was one of the three killing centers linked to Operation Reinhard. The SS planned to murder almost 2 million Jews living in the German-administered territory of occupied Poland called the General Government. Killing operations in Belzec began on a mass scale on March 17, 1942. On this date, the first Jewish communities were deported to Belzec. These communities came from the cities of Lublin and Lwów. Between March and December 1942, the Germans deported approximately 500,000 Jews. Gassing operations at Belzec began in mid-March 1942. Typically, trains of 40 to 60 freight cars arrived at the Belzec railway station. Between 80 and 100 people were crowded into each car. 20 freight cars at a time were detached and brought from the station along the small rail siding into the camp. Gassing operations at Belzec began in mid-March 1942. Typically, trains of 40 to 60 freight cars arrived at the Belzec railway station. Between 80 and 100 people were crowded into each car. 20 freight cars at a time were detached and brought from the station along the small rail siding into the camp. The arriving Jews were then ordered to disembark at the platform of the reception area. German SS and police personnel announced that the Jewish deportees had arrived at a transit camp and were to hand over all valuables in their possession. When the killing center first started operations, men were separated from women and children. Jewish victims were forced to undress and run through the tube. The tube led directly into gas chambers, deceptively labeled as showers. Once the chamber doors were sealed, auxiliary police guards started a large motor engine located outside the building housing the gas chambers. Carbon monoxide was funneled into the gas chambers, killing all those inside. The process was then repeated with deportees in the next 20 freight cars. Initial gassings mirrored the killing centers of T4, euthanasia program. The killings were conducted with bottled, chemically produced carbon monoxide gas. The first commandant of Belzec, Christian Wirth, had experience as a T4 operative. Wirth had also viewed gassings conducted in gas vans at the Chelmno killing center. Based on his observations, he ordered a self-contained gassing installation that employed carbon monoxide gas generated from the exhaust of a large automotive engine. It was this gassing technique used in stationary gas chambers that would be replicated in the other Operation Reinhard camps. In October 1942, on orders from Odilo Globoknik, camp personnel deployed Jewish forced laborers from various locations in Lublin district to exhume the mass graves at Belzec. They ordered the forced laborers to burn the bodies in open-air ovens made from rail track. This was in keeping with the efforts of Sonderkommando 1005, tasked with excavating and destroying evidence of Nazi mass murder in the German-occupied East. By late spring 1943, Jewish forced laborers guarded by the SS and police and their auxiliaries had completed the task of exhuming and burning the bodies. They had also dismantled the camp. In June 1943, the camp was liquidated and the Jewish forced laborers were either shot in Belzec or deported to the Sobibor killing center to be gassed. After the Belzec camp was dismantled, the Germans plowed over the site. They built a manor house and planted trees and crops to disguise the area as a farm. A former auxiliary police guard was placed on the site to farm the property in order to further camouflage the site.